Hey everyone, quick video today. Field Trip Health, the psychedelic company Field Trip, they end of April they told us that they're splitting. Basically, they told investors, they told the public in and I think was it a deck? It looked like a deck, I think, or was it a PDF on the investor relations site? I think it was dated April 28th. So basically, they're splitting, and they're no longer going to be a single company. They're splitting into two companies, and one of the companies is going to be called Reunion, and it's going to continue the field trip work related to their own meds. Basically, they're creating their own psychedelic meds. Um, I don't know exactly um, the type of meds and the portfolio they're doing. I still have to do a little more research on field trip, but I know they have at least one proprietary drug that I've read about that they're developing. So proprietary meaning like synthetic or not natural, not like just not pure psilocybin, obviously. So Reunion Health, it's going to be that arm. It's going to be like a typical psychedelic company trying to get FDA approval for psychedelic therapies and medicines. That's Reunion. And then the other company is going to be called Field Trip. Um, it's going to be called Field Trip, same thing as Field Trip Health. And this company is just going to be a clinic. They're going to be a much smaller company at first. They're going to inherit the current set of clinics, and they're going to be a clinic, like a clinic provider. Current shareholders, based on what I read, are going to get a full share of Reunion, and then a partial share of the new field trip. So your one share is gonna become a share of Reunion, and then you're gonna have for each share you may have, I don't know, for each 100 shares, let's say you'll have like 50 shares of the new field trip company, I think. And based on my very early preliminary reading, it seems like this new company Reunion will own a small percentage of Field Trip as well, of the new clinic only company. So by owning Reunion, you're implicitly going to be holding some Field Trip as well. So two companies, Reunion and Field Trip. Reunion is going to hold some of the Field Trip stock as well. It seems like it's going to be an easy split. Where are these companies going to be traded? Based on what I read, it looks like Reunion is going to be still traded on the NASDAQ in the US, but Field Trip is only going to be traded on the Toronto Stock Exchange, the venture version. So I think there's two versions, TSX and TSXV. I think it's TSXV, but it's basically the Toronto Stock Exchange and the Toronto like Venture Stock Exchange, which is, I don't know too much about that. Don't know too much about that, but I'm gonna obviously research and talk to you guys about that because Field Trip is now going to be traded on there, so I want to know about it. So I'll definitely look into that, um, and I'll get back to you guys on that, and I'll look at the overall like kind of whatever verbiage, whatever kind of memo or release they put out related to the split as well, so we can learn much more about that. Generally, I think it could be a good thing, right? Good thing for shareholders because now each company can focus on their own thing. I'm assuming the management and the infrastructure and the approach and the culture you need for the development of a drug and to get that drug through FDA approval, I assume that's different than setting up a bunch of clinics. There may be synergies. Maybe in the future they'll want to combine. Maybe in the future these types of companies will want to combine. But it's interesting that basically the current leadership at Field Trip, the current senior management, and obviously senior investors and the board, they seem, they seem like, not seem, they definitely think, well, they seem to think, I don't know what their minds are actually, but they seem to think that splitting it up would be beneficial to shareholders and it would increase shareholder value. So that's a possibility. Maybe that's true. That does kind of make sense, right? If you're just trying to get drugs approved by the FDA, there's a certain type of culture and framework and approach you need, and the capital you'll need is going to be quite a bit different, right? Different levels of capital and investment are going to be needed there versus the type of investment that you're going to need when you're just trying to have 100 or 1,000 psychedelic clinics. Different type of investment, different type of culture, different type of approach, different type of risk, different type of leadership needed. So maybe splitting will increase shareholder value. Maybe that's the right thing to do. Of course, maybe it's the wrong thing to do. Maybe they're making a mistake too. You don't know.